Every single morning, millions of Americans go through the exact same little ritual. You brew a pot, you pour a cup, and then, without even thinking about it, you scrape that soggy clump of used coffee grounds straight into the trash. It feels like garbage, so we treat it like garbage. But here's something that might stop you in your tracks. The world produces an estimated 15 million tons of spent coffee grounds every single year, and the overwhelming majority of it gets tossed out or hauled off to a landfill. That's a mountain of a material that's packed with nitrogen, loaded with antioxidants, and built with the perfect gritty texture for dozens of jobs around your house and yard. In other words, you've been throwing away a free, multi-purpose resource twice a day, 7 days a week. So before you dump that filter basket again, let's talk about what those grounds can really do. Some of these tricks will save you money, some will save you a trip to the store, and at least one of them is going to bust a myth you've probably believed for years. So grab your coffee, and this time, hang on to what's left at the bottom. Let's get started. Number 1. Feed your garden the smart way. Let's start in the garden, because this is where coffee grounds really earn their keep. Used grounds are rich in nitrogen, the same nutrient that headlines most store-bought fertilizers, and they also contain potassium, magnesium, and a handful of other trace minerals that plants love. As the grounds slowly break down, they release that nitrogen into the soil and feed your plants over time. But here's where we have to set the record straight, because there's a massive myth floating around the internet about this. You've almost certainly heard that coffee grounds are acidic and that you should sprinkle them around your azaleas, blueberries, and hydrangeas to lower the soil pH. It sounds logical. Coffee tastes acidic, right? The problem is, it's just not true for used grounds. Soil scientists at Oregon State University put it plainly. The acid in coffee is water-soluble, which means it mostly ends up in your cup, not in the grounds. Once you've brewed your coffee, the leftover grounds test out close to neutral, somewhere around a pH of 6.5 to 6.8. And any tiny change they do make to your soil is short-lived. So if you've been dumping buckets of grounds on your blueberry bushes hoping to acidify the soil, I've got bad news. It's not doing the job. What grounds will do is gently enrich your soil with organic matter and nutrients. The trick is moderation. Work a thin layer lightly into the soil rather than piling it on. Because the particles are so fine, a thick, wet layer can actually form a crust that water and air can't get through, which suffocates your roots. Used in the right amount, though, your plants will thank you, and your wallet will too. Number 2. Supercharge your compost pile. If you keep a compost pile, used coffee grounds are about as close to a perfect ingredient as you can get. Composting is a balancing act between green materials that are rich in nitrogen and brown materials that are rich in carbon. Coffee grounds fall squarely into the green camp, delivering a steady supply of nitrogen that fuels the whole process. That nitrogen feeds the beneficial microbes and bacteria that break everything down, which means your scraps turn into rich, dark, crumbly compost faster. On top of the nitrogen, the grounds chip in potassium, magnesium, and other trace minerals that end up enriching the finished product. And don't stop at the grounds. If you brew with paper filters, you can toss the whole soggy filter right in there, because paper is a brown material and it breaks down beautifully, adding carbon to balance out all that green. Got a worm bin? Worms are absolutely crazy about coffee grounds. Just go easy and mix them in rather than dumping a thick pile in one spot, and your little composting crew will turn that morning brew into black gold for your garden. Number 3. Stop slugs and snails in their tracks. If you've ever walked out to your garden and found your hostas or lettuce shredded overnight, you know the heartbreak of a slug problem. These slimy little vandals can wipe out tender plants in a matter of days. but your coffee grounds might be the cheap defense you've been looking for. Slugs and snails are soft-bodied creatures, and they really don't like crawling across a coarse, gritty surface. A barrier of coffee grounds is exactly the kind of rough terrain they want to avoid. On top of the texture, there is some evidence that the caffeine and other compounds in coffee are genuinely toxic to these pests, which gives them one more reason to turn around. To use this trick, simply sprinkle a band of used grounds around the base of the plants that keep getting attacked. Reapply after a heavy rain, since a downpour will wash your barrier away. It's a chemical-free way to protect your greens, and it costs you absolutely nothing. Number 4. Keep stray cats out of your garden. Cats can be wonderful, right up until the neighborhood toms decide your freshly planted flower bed makes the perfect litter box. If you're tired of finding little surprises in your garden, coffee grounds can help send those felines packing. Cats have an incredibly sensitive sense of smell, and they tend to find the strong, bitter aroma of coffee downright unpleasant. Scatter used grounds across the areas where cats like to dig and do their business, and that powerful scent acts as a natural keep-out sign. The gritty texture underfoot doesn't exactly thrill them either. The bonus here is that you're not spraying harsh commercial repellents around your vegetables or near your own pets. You're just using a leftover you already have on hand. Refresh the grounds every so often, especially after rain washes the smell away, and those wandering cats will start looking for somewhere else to lounge. Number 5. Knock out stubborn odors. Here's one you can put to work today, no garden required. Used coffee grounds are a fantastic natural deodorizer, and they work on the same principle as those pricey boxes of baking soda you stick in the fridge. The secret is that coffee grounds are porous and slightly absorbent. They trap and neutralize the funky smells floating around instead of just masking them. Think about your refrigerator, that mishmash of leftover fish, sharp cheese, cut onions, and who knows what else. Just dry out some used grounds. Put them in an open jar or bowl and tuck it in the back of the fridge or freezer. Swap them out about once a month, or sooner if your fridge is a real problem zone. This trick is not limited to the kitchen. Stick a container of dried grounds in a musty closet, your gym bag, or near a smelly garbage can. And one of my favorites, after you have been chopping garlic, onions, or handling fish, rub a little damp coffee grounds between your hands and rinse. That clinging odor that soap cannot seem to touch? Gone. The grounds grab onto the smell and take it down the drain with them. Number 6. Make a DIY exfoliating body scrub. Walk down the skincare aisle and you'll see fancy exfoliating scrubs going for $15, $20, even $30 a jar. Flip the label over and you'll often find, you guessed it, coffee listed as a star ingredient. So why not make your own for free? Coffee grounds make an excellent exfoliant for a couple of reasons. First, the grounds don't dissolve in water, so that gritty texture is perfect for buffing away dead skin cells and leaving your skin feeling smooth and refreshed. Second, coffee is rich in antioxidants like caffeic acid, which some research suggests may help support healthier-looking skin and protect against the daily wear and tear that ages it. Making your own scrub couldn't be easier. Mix about a tablespoon of used grounds with a spoonful of coconut oil or honey to bind it all together. In the shower, gently massage the mixture into your skin in circular motions. Let it sit for a minute or two, then rinse it off. Your skin gets a spa-quality scrub down, and you didn't spend a dime. Just go gentle. Exfoliating is about buffing, not scrubbing yourself raw. Number 7. Depuff tired, sleepy eyes. Rough night? We've all woken up to that puffy, slept on the wrong side look staring back at us in the mirror. Before you reach for an expensive eye cream, take a look at what's in those eye creams in the first place. Very often, it's caffeine. Here's the science behind it. Caffeine is a vasoconstrictor, which is a fancy way of saying it temporarily narrows blood vessels and stimulates circulation. When you apply it to the delicate skin under your eyes, it can help reduce the fluid buildup that causes that puffy, baggy appearance, making the area look a little tighter and brighter. Dermatologists are clear that the effect is temporary and modest. It's not a miracle cure, but for a quick morning pick-me-up, it can absolutely help. To try it, grind some used grounds to a fine, soft consistency and mix them with a little bit of leftover liquid coffee to make a paste. Gently dab it under your eyes, being very careful not to get any in your eyes themselves, and let it sit for a few minutes before rinsing with cool water. It's a budget-friendly way to look a little more awake than you actually feel. Number 8. Scrub pots, pans, and grills. Got crusty, baked-on food welded to the bottom of a pan? That stubborn frittata residue or the burnt cheese on your casserole dish? Coffee grounds are a natural, gentle abrasive that can scour away the gunk without the harsh chemicals and without scratching up your hands like steel wool does. The coarse texture of the grounds does the heavy lifting, scraping away the caked-on grime so your cookware rinses clean. Sprinkle a generous pinch directly onto the dirty spot, grab a damp sponge or cloth, and scrub in circles. It works especially well on cast iron, where you do not want to strip away that hard-earned seasoning with soap. Coffee grounds give you the scrubbing power without the damage. One important heads up: skip this trick on non-stick pans. The same grit that powers through baked-on food can also scratch and ruin a non-stick coating. And because the grounds have a dark pigment, give everything a thorough final rinse so you do not leave a brown residue behind. Stick to your tougher pots, pans, grill grates, and cast iron, and you have a free scouring powder hiding in your coffee maker. Number 9. Hide scratches in wood furniture. This is one of those tricks that almost nobody knows about, and it feels a little like magic the first time you try it. If you have a scratch or scuff on a piece of dark wood furniture, coffee grounds can help camouflage it and make it nearly disappear. The reason it works comes down to that rich, dark pigment in the coffee. When you rub it into a light-colored scratch on dark wood, it stains the exposed area and blends it in with the surrounding finish, masking the damage. Here's how to do it. Mix a small amount of used grounds with just enough water to form a thick paste. Then, using a cotton swab for precision or a soft cloth for a larger area, work the paste into the scratch. Let it sit for a few minutes so the color can soak in, then gently wipe away the excess. You may need to repeat it a couple of times to get the shade just right, but for a quick, cheap fix on coffee tables, dressers, and dark wood floors, it is hard to beat. Just remember, this one is for darker woods, since the coffee stain will not blend into light or blonde finishes. Number 10. Repel ants, mosquitoes, and fruit flies outdoors. We already talked about slugs, but coffee grounds are a broader pest-fighting tool than that. A lot of common insects simply cannot stand coffee. Many bugs find it toxic, and they are repelled by the strong scent and the abrasive texture. If ants are marching into your space or invading your garden beds, sprinkle a line of used grounds along their trails and entry points. The grounds disrupt the scent trails ants rely on to navigate, throwing the whole colony off course. For your backyard hangout spots, scattering grounds around the perimeter or setting out a few small containers of them can help keep mosquitoes and fruit flies from crashing your evening. Some folks take it a step further and let a small pile of dried grounds smolder outdoors like incense. The smoke is said to drive mosquitoes away. If you try that route, only ever do it outside in a well-ventilated open area and never indoors, since burning grounds is not something you want to be breathing in a closed space. For most people, simple sprinkling does the trick and keeps things hassle-free. Number 11. Give your pet a flea-fighting rinse. If you've got a dog scratching up a storm, your used coffee grounds might offer a little backup in the fight against fleas. This is a popular natural remedy that pet owners have passed around for years. The idea is that fleas don't care for coffee grounds, so working them through your pet's coat may help discourage the little hitchhikers. After you've given your dog a bath, take a handful of used grounds and gently massage them into their fur and down to the skin, then rinse thoroughly. A couple of big important notes here. First, always do this outside. The last thing you want is a swarm of disturbed fleas jumping ship and setting up camp inside your house. Second, think of this as a mild supplement, not a cure. The evidence for it is mostly anecdotal, and if your pet has a real flea infestation, you'll want to talk to your vet about a proper treatment that is proven to work. And of course, never let your pet eat the grounds, since caffeine isn't good for them. Used as a gentle, occasional rinse though, it's a harmless thing to try. Number 12. Grow your own mushrooms. Now here's a trick that sounds almost too cool to be true. You can actually grow your own gourmet mushrooms in used coffee grounds. Oyster mushrooms in particular thrive on them, and once you see it work, you'll feel like a backyard scientist. There's a clever reason coffee grounds are such a great growing medium, or substrate for mushrooms. They are already packed with the nutrients that fungi love to feed on. Even better, the brewing process essentially sterilizes the grounds with hot water, which knocks out a step that mushroom growers normally have to do themselves. You are getting a pre-prepared, nutrient-rich substrate as a free byproduct of your morning coffee. To get started, you will collect a good amount of fresh used grounds, the fresher the better before any mold sets in, and combine them with oyster mushroom spawn, which you can pick up online or from a garden supplier. Pack the mixture into a container with a few holes for airflow, keep it somewhere warm and dark, and mist it to keep it moist. In a few weeks, you will start seeing little mushrooms pushing their way out. There is something deeply satisfying about turning trash into dinner. Number 13. Add traction on icy walkways. We will finish with one for everybody who deals with real winters. When that front walk turns into a sheet of ice, your used coffee grounds can help keep you from taking a spill, and they are gentler on the world around you than the alternatives. It works in two ways. First, the gritty, coarse texture of the grounds provides instant traction underfoot, the same way sand does, giving your shoes something to bite into so you are not skating to your car. Second, the grounds are dark, and that dark color absorbs sunlight, which can help warm the surface and speed the melting of thin ice. The real advantage shows up when you compare grounds to the usual options. Rock salt can corrode concrete, kill the grass and plants along your path, and irritate your pet's paws. Sand adds grip but does not melt anything, and it gets tracked all through the house. Coffee grounds split the difference, a bit of traction, a bit of melting help, and a nitrogen boost for the soil come springtime instead of a salty wasteland. Just keep a coffee can of dried grounds by the door all winter and sprinkle as needed. Wrapping it up. So there you have it. 13 genuinely useful things you can do with the coffee grounds you've been tossing in the trash without a second thought. From feeding your garden and supercharging your compost, to fighting off slugs and stray cats, to scrubbing your pans, brightening your skin, and even growing your own mushrooms. Those leftover grounds are a free resource that most people throw straight in the garbage. The beautiful part is that you're already making the coffee. The grounds are a byproduct you'd be paying to throw away anyway, so every one of these tricks is essentially free. A little reuse here and there adds up. Fewer products to buy, less waste headed to the landfill, and a few more dollars staying right in your pocket. So the next time you finish brewing your morning cup, take a second before you dump that filter. Which one of these are you going to try first? Drop a comment down below and let us know. We always love hearing which tips actually made it into your routine. And hey, if you found this helpful, do us a quick favor and smash that like button. It really does help more people discover these little money-saving ideas. This channel is all about sharing simple, common-sense tricks that help you stop wasting things and stretch every dollar a little further. We put out new ideas just like this all the time, so if that sounds like your kind of thing, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss one. Trust us, your wallet will thank you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.